you want to change the world, you will face rejection. If you want to challenge the status quo, you will face rejection. If you want to pursue big dreams or even small dreams, you will be rejected. If you put yourself out there, you will be rejected. If you strive to lead an authentic life or an unconventional life, you will be rejected. So you likely get my point. Part of being human means facing rejection. And I wanted to make this video to first share an example of a spicy rejection that I received recently. And then second, I want to share how I personally embrace rejection. Because what I've found with the coaching clients that I've worked with, and honestly in my own life, is that rejection, the fear of it in particular, often holds us back. We may want to do big, bold things in the world. However, we are terrified of being rejected. So if you are currently dealing with rejection, maybe you're like me, you're on an entrepreneurial path, you're constantly putting yourself out there, you're getting rejected, this video is for you. If you would like to pursue certain goals or dreams, you have a vision for your life, and you're holding yourself back because of the fear of rejection, this video is for you. So first, let's start with the spicy rejection. For context, I had reached out to a leader to offer my career and leadership coaching services. And this gentleman, let's call him Bob, responded with the following: OMG no, all capitals. Please, period. I'm 53 years old. I don't need any more developmental feedback from a group of people half my age. No thanks. So, this is a spicy rejection. There's a lot to unpack here. So first, I love Bob's honesty. He is not open to feedback from individuals half his age. Second, as much as I would like to believe that my anti-aging products are working miracles, I am not in my 20s. Now, I know this is surprising to some, maybe not to others, but I just found it amusing. For whatever reason, Bob thought I was in my 20s. I have updated photos. You could look at my information on LinkedIn, my website, see I have substantial work experience. So, that's okay. Third, the reason this particular rejection is important is because I could immediately jump to the conclusion male leaders in a certain age range are not interested in working with me. Is that the truth? It's really important to look at the big picture. So when I analyze the stats of my coaching clients I work with for the past 10 years, about 50% of them are males. They are older than me, particularly 10, 20 years older than me. I think it's really important to not accept one rejection as the ultimate truth and allow it to derail you. So I thought I would share this rejection because it's fun. I think there's a lot that you can learn from it, and I want you to know that this is my reality right now. While I received a lot of kind notes, very supportive note, I've also received notes like the ones from Bob. So next, I want to talk about how I personally embrace rejection and what has helped me, especially being on this entrepreneurial journey and having to put myself out there. So first, I have created a village of support and highly recommend that you do the same because, when you're on the path to pursuing your dreams, pursuing goals, it can be, a little bit isolating. It's so important that you have a variety of individuals in your life who can help support you, guide you, be a sounding board for you, provide their expertise for you. And so there are three main roles to consider. First, the cheerleader. These are people that are doing their high kicks, backflips, high jumps, cartwheels, and they are providing unconditional support for you. It doesn't matter if you've been rejected 50 times or 500 times. They're there rooting you on, saying, you go girl, you keep going, I believe in you, I see your potential. It's so important to have these people in your life, especially when you're dealing with, a high volume of critical feedback potentially. Second group are those trailblazers. These are the people who are on the path that you are on, but they are ahead of you. They are successful. They can share their own experiences of challenges they faced, how they've overcome those challenges, any successes they've had, what has made them successful, how they personally have faced rejection. So think about who in your network is on a similar path and who would be open to connecting with you, maybe weekly, monthly, even once, so you can learn from them. And then the third group are those constructive critics. These are individuals you trust, you respect, you value their feedback, and they're going to be real and raw with you. They're going to say, you know what, your website is terrible. I don't understand your marketing strategy. Like, you really need to rethink your approach. Ideally you would like if they're kind and direct, but they just may just lay it out there for you. But you know that these individuals have your best interest in mind, and you really value their feedback and, again, respect them as individuals. So that would be my first recommendation and what has helped me create the village of support. Second, highly recommend that you have a list of role models who have faced rejection in their lives, and while you may never meet these individuals, you can absolutely learn from them. So the first individual that comes to mind for me is Jia Jing. Now, he gave such an entertaining, educational, delightful TED Talk, 5.5 million views, on his experience dealing with 100 days of rejection. He also wrote the book Rejection Proof. And what I learned from Jia is that he feared rejection like so many people. First day, he had to ask a colleague for $100. Colleague was like, no, I'm not giving you $100. He didn't even know Jia. So Jia kind of skimpers away, and he was just almost paralyzed by fear. Then you see how Jia evolves over the course of the 100 days and how he learns from rejection and realizes in some cases it's not personal. And the fact we shouldn't be afraid of rejection, it's just part of life. He also had fun with his different requests as well. So tune in to Jia's TED Talk. I'll add a link below. Check out his book. He is such an inspiring individual. Second role model, Bob Iger. So Bob was the former CEO of Walt Disney Company. He retired well in an interesting turn of events. He is now back as CEO of Walt Disney Company. And I absolutely love Bob Iger's memoir, Ride of a Lifetime, one of my favorite books on business and leadership. And in Bob's book, he talks about how he was initially passed over for the role of COO, so Chief Operating Officer. Even though he was ready for the role, he had been with Walt Disney Company for years and years. He had the tenure, the experience, the skills, everything. An outsider was brought in. This outsider did not do well in the role, and I found it interesting that Bob was committed and loyal to Walt Disney Company, even though he was passed over. I mean, talk about rejection. Then, when Bob was considered for the CEO role, he faced rejection again by the board. And it was interesting to hear about Bob's experience and the fact that he was upset and he expressed his emotions, even though if you ever see Bob in an interview, he is so calm and cool and collected. And I think his vulnerability in Ride of a Lifetime just showed that he is human, and even the most successful CEOs of all time, I would argue, they can get rattled when they're facing rejection. So look into Bob's book. I think you absolutely love it. For anyone who's interested in learning more, either about business leadership or Walt Disney Company. Third, Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo. She also wrote a memoir, My Life in Full. I recommend this book, highly recommend it for any leaders, especially female leaders, who would love to learn from a trailblazer who I would say went on to be one of the most successful CEOs as well. And she faced quite an uphill battle. She was committed to implementing performance with purpose. And so instead of just focusing on short-term gains, would have made the board happy, she instead had a long-term vision for PepsiCo. She had a very strong desire to ensure that the company had a positive impact on both people and profits. This did not go over well with everyone, as you can imagine. A shareholder came up to her one day and said, "Who do you think you are? Mother Teresa?" I mean, now that's some spicy feedback, spicy rejection right there. And Indra is also very vulnerable, just like Bob Iger, in how she personally dealt with setbacks, rejection, criticism. She talks about going into her office and crying, shutting the door, reapplying her makeup, and coming out with a smile on her face. And again, it just highlights the fact that even the most successful people in the world, they can struggle with rejection, but they get back up and they are resilient. That would be my second recommendation, is to create a list of role models that you can really learn from. Third recommendation is to really honor your feelings. Figure out, how can I express my feelings in a healthy and productive way? When you're dealing with rejection, you may be angry, you may be sad, you may feel defeated, you may want to give up. This is all normal. We cannot just simply dismiss, how we're feeling. It's important still to say, okay, today's a tough day. And so for me personally, last week I had a pity party day. I ate about 3/4 of a bag of vegan chocolate caramels, and I was just like having a day where I was feeling down and out. And the next day I told myself, you know what, go to the gym. Like, even if you only stretch at the gym, at least you're getting up, you're getting moving. So 2 hours later, I had done a treadmill workout. I felt like a new person. I'm like, where did all this energy come from? I was listening to my dance music, and I have this renewed sense of focus, creative insight came. And so think about, if you're dealing with rejection, should you take a step back? Because I think it can be so easy to spiral and just, think, well, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. Like, why am I doing this? What am I thinking? And there can be this negative train wreck of a thought pattern that can really impact you. So think about ways that you can process those feelings. For me, the gym is therapy. I always feel so much better when I go to the gym, and also just having some time away from my laptop, again, allowed me to return and just feel like, okay, here's a new strategy I'm going to implement. This is what I'm going to do differently. So those are some ways that I have come to really maintain resilience in the face of daily rejection in some cases. Would love to know from you. If you're watching this video, first off, thank you so much. Would love to know ways you face rejection and what have you done to deal with that rejection. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to read your comments.